Hello and welcome to our prenatal yoga practice. This one's quite exciting for me as I am prenatal too. I'm 5 months. And just before anything else, please just listen to your body. Your body is by far your best teacher. It will tell you when something's not right. And I think there is lots of advice out there that we should listen to, but you need to apply it to your own body. And so I know with back bends, sometimes more in the earlier months, I found them really difficult. Now it feels like I'm easing back into them, but I don't go too far. So I'm just really listening, and I'd like you to do the same. So to begin with, I have got some blocks here that I'm going to give as optional use. I'm aware we're all at home at the moment and we don't all have access to props. So I'm trying to do things without too many, so it doesn't matter. If you have them, then grab them and we can use them. Or if you have big books, something that kind of could be worked in place, or even a real sturdy Tupperware. They're just for our hands, we're not putting too much weight on them at the moment. I'm sitting on a bolster, just because I like to have my hips lifted when I'm in a seated position. If you've got a bolster, great. If you've got a big cushion, if you prefer to be sat on the ground, that is fine. So again, please guide your practice. If you need to grab anything, then do. If you want to have maybe a blanket nearby for our Shavasana at the end, or even just now that you've come to your mat, you notice maybe you're a bit chilly or a bit too hot, maybe just make any adjustments you need to. And then we come to the mat, come to find your seat. So just sit in however is comfortable for you. Lengthening the spine. Hands onto the thighs. They can be palm down if you feel you need connection with the earth, maybe with yourself, or palm up as an open acceptance and surrendering pose. Big breath in, big breath out. So our focus for today is to slow down and to show ourselves some kindness. So part of the 8-limbed yoga, the first two of those limbs refer to yamas and niyamas, and these are social codes and personal practice. One of the social codes is ahimsa, which means non-violence, and we interpret that as kindness. And really, today more than ever, but it should always be one of your focuses, is to show kindness to yourself. Sometimes we speak to ourselves in a way we'd never dream of speaking to a cared friend. And so today, we're really trying to cultivate that yama, showing kindness to ourselves, allowing yourself it's okay to slow down, to be still, to take this time for you. And it's okay if your body doesn't do what it once did. It's preoccupied, it's very busy doing other things at the moment, so just be kind and take your time. If you ever need to pause through the practice, just come back to child pose, take your time, and then rejoin when you feel ready. So in your seat, big breath in, big breath out. Allow yourself to arrive onto your mat, physically and mentally. Knowing that it may take a while for our breath to calm down, that's okay. We have time and we will continue to practice. Just tuning in with your emotions. In Morita therapy, we're encouraged to welcome, to greet and to welcome all of our emotions. We're not labelling them as good or bad. We welcome them all, invite them to come and sit beside you, and promise to take care of them. By acknowledging our emotions, by allowing them rather than resisting them, we can take away a lot of the pressure that we feel. Keeping the breath steady and allowing yourself to explore as you expand into that breath, feeling your body with your prana, your life force. Exhaling fully, releasing everything we don't need to carry with us. big inhale, stretching the arms up, drawing the palms together, lowering them in front of your heart, bowing your head. We're going to begin our practice with an Om. So we're going to take an exhale, an inhale, and then Om together. And I want you to imagine this energy, this life that's coming from inside you. We're drawing the energy and celebrating, sharing it with those around us. So when you're ready, exhale, inhale, and begin. Okay, let's begin. We're going to start in child pose. So if you've had anything underneath, if you do have a cushion, you can always feel free to straddle that cushion. It just takes a little pressure off the knees, relaxing onto that, but it's completely optional. If you do have blocks or books, place them onto the mat where your hands would go. You come to rest in child pose, and we just hold on to those. We're just creating a little more space for your bum. I don't have much of a bump at the moment, but I'm preparing for when I do. So if you do, you might want to move your legs slightly wider and just have your hands resting up. And then lengthening the spine, release into your child pose. Big breath in, big breath out. Remember, we're learning to slow down, so your mind might be busy telling you things. Just each time you become aware, come back to your breath. It's a practice. Yoga, slowing down, we need to take our time and practice. On your next inhale, we're going to gently lift ourselves up onto all fours. Again, if you want to keep your hands on the blocks to just allow a little more space, then do. Otherwise, just move them out of the way for now. On all fours in our tabletop position. And then just gently moving as your body wishes. So just if you feel anything in your hips, maybe tilting your hips forwards, tucking the tailbone under, maybe swaying from side to side, maybe kind of sinking and lifting through the shoulders, depending on what you need. Just gently loosening up the body. Again, taking your time and listen to the body. It's a really lovely opportunity to check in with what's happening. The body is amazing and it's doing amazing things at the moment, so it's really nice to try and connect with that, to listen to what it's telling you, see what it wants. From here, we're going to bring our knees a little wider, and once again extending the hands forwards. You can use the blocks if you wish. I'm coming to puppy pose. If coming all the way down with straight arms is too much, just bring your elbows down. Keep the hips lifted above your knees. If your hands are forwards, then just allowing them forwards, bring the chest to the floor. You can rest your chin on the floor or forehead down. Really nice one. As our bodies start to change, we can feel a lot of tension in our back and particularly our shoulders. So really opening the shoulders up here. Big breath in. Big breath out. Stay here for another breath. Good. And then from here we're going to thread the needle. So maybe just lifting your chest slightly to allow some space. Then take our right hand and thread it underneath the left to bring the right shoulder down. And resting here. What you can do, if you want to, is also bring that left leg out and just open out to the side. Using your left hand for support. Big inhale. Big exhale. We just need to learn to not rush from one to the next. To be kind to ourselves. We're gifting ourselves this time to make this place that we live, this body we live in, just a slightly nicer, calmer place. Good. Gently draw the knee back in. And thread the arm. Rest down into child pose. Lifting back up to in puppy pose. We're threading the arm to the other side. And then again, the option to extend. So this time it would be your right leg. I'm a little too close to the wall, so I'm going to stay as I am on this side. Big breath in. Big breath out. Gently lifting back through. I'm going to come once again back into child pose. So if you want to use the blocks, do. Or hands onto the floor. Rest and really lengthen your spine. We join our hips towards our heels. Reaching the arms forwards. Big breath in. Big breath out. When you're ready, we're going to lift up through all fours. We're going to come into down dog. Once again, you can keep your hands on the blocks, tucking your toes, lifting your hips. And again, if you have a belly, it's quite nice, it just gives you that tiny bit more space to allow for the changes in your body. I'm going to move into the side. And just come up onto my hands. So lengthening the spine, broadening the shoulders. And don't worry about straight legs or heels to the floor, just allow that bend in the knees. From here, if you're on blocks, just gently coming off of the blocks, so your hands are on the mat, and gently rock forwards into a plank position. Hold for a moment, and then lift your hips and push back into your down dog. And to do that 2 more times, I'm just going to move my feet back slightly so I have a little more space to move. Lowering yourself down into a plank. Lifting yourself up. One more time. Lowering the hips down. Plank pose. And then lifting back up again into your down dog. Gently allow your knees to come down. We come back into child pose. So again, bringing the blocks in if you need to, and resting down. So the use of blocks is so good for so many reasons. One, it really helps us just to relax. So our effort and surrender, our steerum sukha, to really release into the poses a little more. It's also nice because it just takes the time, rather than thinking, oh, it will be okay, I'll just do this, so it's not, we kind of can rush through, even in yoga sometimes. Bringing blocks in, it really makes you aware of where you are. They don't need to be yogi blocks or yoga straps or bolsters. It can be your cushions, it can be big books, it could be anything you have around, but it helps you really connect with your asanas a little more. So never feel that it's a weakness using props. It's a really good connection with your practice. So from our child pose, just taking a couple more deep breaths here. So once again, just stepping the blocks out. So we really want to strengthen our core muscles. But we can't always do it in the same way as we may be used to, such as sit-ups or things like that. So it puts too much pressure on our abs and can cause our separation, our diastasis. So instead, we focus on our deeper stabilizing muscles. So from all fours, I'd like you to extend your left leg. So just for now, bringing the toes resting on the floor. Your right arm extends forward. So this may be enough. And if it is, stay here. If you feel stable, you can lift the foot off the floor. But we're trying to keep that lower back. So we're trying to avoid the bend coming from the lower back. So we're really engaging our core muscles. Lifting up and lowering back down. If you want to, we're going to do a few of these. So you may want to just shuffle so you're near a wall. So you've just got something stable to hold on to. We're going to the other side. Right leg extends, left arm reaches, and then right leg up. Release down. We're going to do 2 more on each side. So taking your time, you inhale as you extend. Exhale as you release. And we switch sides in between. Carry on with your bird dogs. Just because we're constantly having to realign our balance. So it really is working the muscles, working our balance, working our stabilizing muscles, but without being in too much of a precarious situation when we may fall. We have to be aware our balance changes quite a lot through pregnancy. So we just always must keep adapting to that change. When you're done, and to tuck our toes under, lift our hips up into a down dog. From here, just stepping the feet towards the edge of the mat, toes pointing out. Walk your hands in so we allow our knees to bend out to the side. We're just opening up our hips. We come into our malasana, our yogi squat. So it doesn't matter if your heels are off the floor. If you're ever in this pose for a while, and it can be, especially towards the end of your pregnancy, nice to come into this, as it really helps to open your hips, helps prepare you for birth, the child to come into the correct position. You may want to put a block or a cushion under your heels to support if you need to. And to open the hips, you can draw the palms together, opening the knees. Try to avoid rounding forwards. And instead drawing the tailbone down, lifting the chest and opening up. Big breath in. Big breath out. And just pause here for a moment. Stay here, we're not in any hurry. Enjoy that breath coming in. Enjoy the breath going out. Hold for another 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Nice. We're going to reverse back out. So walking the hands forwards, closing the knees and the hips, so into a wide leg down dog, and then walking the feet forwards into your forward fold, and releasing down. It's quite nice to take some pressure off of that lower back. And if you ever need to bend the knees, lift up slightly again if you need blocks. And this also applies as we come up into a halfway lift. Releasing back down. If you just feel a bit more secure having these, then use them. I'm going to lift all the way to standing. Just be careful now if you're feeling a bit faint or lightheaded. Take your time to come up. And stretch and lengthen the arms up. But just take your time. If you need to take a sip of water, if you need to just rest, if you want to come down to the mat, please, please, please just listen to your body. And stepping forward. So I'm going to come through a few salutations now. Grounding yourself down. Big inhale, big exhale. Lifting the arms up. Gently bending the knees, bowing forwards. We're coming into your forward fold. So again, if you want to use blocks, try to release head, neck and shoulders. Inhale to your halfway lift. And again, sometimes we may need to surrender. There can be little difference between our forward fold and halfway lift when we're pregnant, and that's fine. Just lengthening the spine. Good. Big bend in the knees to allow your hands to come down. Step the right leg back. And then gently step the left. Drop your knees down. So depending on where you are, you may want to come down to the floor. But often that feels quite horrible to lay on your belly, or it just doesn't feel particularly pleasant. So instead we can stay on all fours and come through a cat-cow variation. Big breath in. And then gently tucking the toes into your down dog. Gazing forwards, walk, step your feet to your hands. Resting back in that forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, releasing back down. Inhale, up to standing. Reaching up. And releasing the arms down. So sometimes tucking your chin into your chest can just help if you do feel a little dizzy. But just do what feels right for you. Let's go through 2 more. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bow forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down. Gently step the left leg back. And then the right. Drop your knees. And into a cow variation. So only going as far as you wish on this one. So for me, I'm having to really surrender and adjust into what I can do now, which is really good learning for me. So I am about here, and I can just feel that gentle chest opening as I draw the chest forward. And then tucking the toes, lifting your hips. Gazing forwards. Walk or step your feet forwards with your forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, release. And then inhale. Loosen up to standing. And release. Once more. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down. Step it back into your plank. Dropping the knees. Lifting the chest. Good. Push back, down dog. And then from here, dropping the knees down and untuck the toes. Once again, just taking a pause to rest in child pose. So again, maybe that you want your knees wide. You may just want a cushion in front of you to rest down on and allow some space. Please do what feels comfortable. And it may only be for just 1 minute, but it's just worth being comfortable for that minute. So just get used to having some of these things around. And like I say, it can be a pillow from your bed, a cushion from the sofa, an actual sofa cushion, anything, or just a rolled blanket, and just relax there. Big inhale, big exhale. If you have your head towards one direction, just gently changing it to the other side. Big inhale. Big exhale. Good. From here, hands down. We're going to lift into a down dog. And then we're going to step forward with the right foot. So you can stretch that foot up if you feel stable and grounded, or you can just step forward. Okay, the foot lands wherever it lands, and then you can just shuffle forward. So you can even drop that back knee down to allow yourself to shuffle into your low lunge, and then just wherever you need to be. And we're going to come in actually to a runner's lunge. So you're going to bring that back knee off the floor. You're going to ground down through the left arm and open up to the right. So it's a slight twist here. So again, just listening to your body. If that feels okay, then go with it. If not, just keep the hands down. You may want to shuffle this front foot further out to the side, so we're almost in a lizard variation, just to allow more space for your bump inside that thigh. Just hold for another breath. And then release down. Now we're going to turn ourselves to face the long edge of the mat. So the toes are pointing outwards. And we come into a forward fold. Supporting yourself here again. If you want to, you can rest on your blocks. You can release down. Bring the toes in so the feet are parallel. Releasing into that forward fold. Forward folds are a really nice one for just calming the nervous system, calming your mind, lengthening the spine, taking some pressure off that lower back. But again, pay attention. If it's making you feel out of breath or lightheaded, then just come down to the mat, take a pause, and maybe sit that one out as we flow through. From here, bring your heels in. We're going to lift ourselves up into our goddess pose. Just such a lovely, strong pose. So before we move through this, we want the movement here to come from opening up our hips. So we're externally rotating. So if your knee is coming inside, then just bring those feet in line. So sometimes we can be really optimistic and really want our legs out, but then our knees and our ankles are out of line and it's causing pressure on those knees. So just pay attention, knees and feet should be in the same kind of alignment. Then from here we're going to breathe through. So as you inhale, pushing down through the floor, lifting up with the arms. Exhale, lowering back down. Inhale, squeezing the thighs together as you lift up. Exhale down. Just keep breathing. And move with your breath. So if you're a little faster, a little slower, just gently, you're inhaling as you lift and exhaling as you lower. Finding that breath. Just gently, we're not worried too much about really stretching those hips, but we are really strengthening those thighs as we lift up and lower down. And just be aware, it's really tempting, especially those of us that squatted a lot, to kind of lean forward. But actually, we're more as if we're in a second plie here. So almost sitting shoulders above the hips as we lift up and lower down. Goddess pose, such a powerful pose, especially at this time. The next time you're down, stay in here. Gently resting your hands onto your thighs. Now we are going to lean forward and take a gentle twist towards the left, almost like you're trying to stack one shoulder on top of the other. Only going to where you feel comfortable. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the other side. And back to center. We're going to do each side 2 more times. So exhale as you twist, just because it's almost like we're bringing the space out, like you bring water from a towel. Inhale forward. Exhale to the side. Inhale up. Once more on each side. Good. Gently back to center, sitting up. Big inhale. Release the arms down. We're going to transition into a warrior 2. So we're going to turn the feet just this way a little. I'm just going to move these blocks out the way for now, but not too far away. I might want one of those in a moment. So for our warrior 2, our front foot is facing forwards and we're bending into that knee. We want the knee to be in line with the toes. This back foot works as a lever to help us out depending on how open or not our hips are. So our hips are almost directed to the side. But it can mean that our knee kind of hinges inwards, and we don't want that. So then we might need to just turn that foot, turn the hips slightly to enable this knee to sit in the right place. So just finding your way. I just need to extend mine a little. Trying to avoid leaning forwards, try and have your shoulders stacked above your hips. Sitting down, again, we're not too worried about extending too much here. We're just really feeling that strength as you ground down through the foot. Arms parallel. And hold for 3, for 2, for 1. From here, we keep the legs the same, but we flip that front hand, lift the right arm up, allow the left arm to lower, and stretch back. Really nice reverse warrior. You can always take the left hand around your back, grip towards the right thigh, but that's optional. You can always just slide down the leg. Go from here, through our dancing warrior to our extended side angle. So we're trying to not kick our left hip up, but sit down. You can gently rest your elbow on your thigh and extend the arm past the ear. Or use one of your blocks. It can be behind to support down and extend. If you can, turning your gaze up towards the sky. Good. Hold for 3, for 2, for 1. Good. We're going to pivot down. So bringing that hand down. Release the block if you've used one. Hands down. And then we step back into a plank position. Pause here for a moment. And then lift your hips into a down dog. And then rolling forwards back to plank. Lowering yourself down to the mat. We pick gently through our flow. Oh, excuse me, sorry. That's just such habit that I want to go down. So rather than coming down to the mat, coming onto all fours. And then inhaling up. Good. Tucking the toes, push back, down dog. And so this time we're stepping forwards with the left foot. So again, you can stretch up or just step forwards. Plant the foot wherever you need to. Allow the foot to come forwards. Ground down. And then again, like I say, if you need a little more space on the inside, shuffle the foot to the outside. Lifting up with the back foot. So with the back knee. Grounding down through the right hand. And then opening up to the side. It's really tempting for that back foot to swing round. So try and keep the knee pointing towards the mat. And open up. Good. For 3, for 2, for 1. Release down. And then we're going to transition. I'm just going to switch sides. So you're going to sweep round and face to the side of your mat. So I'm just going to come and do it on this side instead. So we're coming round. And again, if you want your blocks to just relax and release onto, bringing the toes in so the feet are parallel. And just taking a moment to release here. Again, we are slowing down. There is no hurry. There is no rush. So really releasing into this pose. Round in the lower back. Try to avoid looking at the floor. Try to look back behind you so the head, neck and shoulders are released. Good. Gently lifting up slightly, allow your heels to come in. And we lift up into our goddess pose. So just taking a while again, check your alignment of your knees and your feet. Make sure we're not putting any pressure there. And then when you're ready, inhale. Reaching up. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale up. Release down. Again, moving with your breath. Don't feel that you need to stick to mine. Try and flow with your own breath. Pushing down through the feet. Squeezing the thighs together as you lift. And as you exhale, just with a gentle push on the outside of those thighs as you sink down. And then lift up. And as we come down, hands onto the knees, hinging forwards, and then we rotate to the side. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the other side. Really nice rotation for the spine, opening of the hips. And we're still really working through those legs. One more on each side. Coming back, sitting back in goddess pose, inhaling up. And then we adjust into our warrior two. So it's almost picking up both toes towards the front of the mat, finding that bend, and then adjusting the back foot to allow for your hips. Going where you need to. Remember, we're not going as low as possible. Just going where we feel that effort and that ease. Arms parallel, stretching arms in both directions. Big breath in, big breath out. Let's hold for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Flip that front palm, reaching up. Allow the back arm to slide down, reaching past the ear, gazing up if you can. Good, and then gently wimbling down. So we're into our extended side angle. So again, try to prevent that hip from popping up. Better that you just stay much higher than kind of fall out of line. Again, if you want a block, just to the outside of the foot. And then sweeping the arm past the ear. For 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. Gently pivot the back foot. Allow the hand to come down. Release the block. You're going to step the foot back into your plank position. Pause in for a moment, then gently drop the knees, untuck the toes, push back and rest down. And again, play around with it. It may be you just have a big book. It may be that just having your hands resting on a big book just provides you a little space that you need. Big breath in. Big breath out. Take your time. If your mind wanders away from the mat, just come back. Come back to your breath. Remember, we are slowing down and we are showing ourselves some kindness. Each breath, bringing your body energy and releasing, clearing out anything you no longer need. Good. Gently from here, I'm going to come into a pigeon pose. So bringing your hands forwards, we'll start with the right knee. So we're going to bring that right knee towards the back of the right wrist. And then we just allow our left leg to extend. It may be that you're here, maybe you're up here. If so, grab the cushion. And we just place it under that hip so you're just a little bit more supported. If you don't need that and can come all the way down, then do. But just make sure you're not kind of rolling, leaning into that right side. Try to keep the hips square. From here, if you want to come into sleeping swan, again, you can have a cushion or a block in front of you, or making a pillow with your hands and releasing down. Depending on the size of your bump, you may need a cushion in front of you. You can rest your arms there. Try to release the shoulders, release the face. We're going to stay here for a little while. This is such a lovely one to Try and stretch your fascia as well as the muscles. And it just takes a little time for that to relax and release. Big breath in. Big breath out. And imagine you're breathing all the way down to those hips, down to your baby. Flooding that whole area. So when we release our stretch, all that wonderful new prana just floods the area. For 5 more breaths. Relax and release. Good. Gently, gently lifting up. And just stretch that leg back. And just take a pause in child pose to realign the spine. And then we go the other side. So coming back up, bringing the left knee behind the left wrist, extending the right leg backwards, and be aware that your sides will be different. So what you need on one, you may not need on another, or vice versa. So if you need to prop yourself up, then do. Again, if you want something in front of you, then do. And take your time. We were here for a little while, so make it worth it for you. And then releasing down. And now when your eyes are closed, allow yourself to relax. Big breath in. Big breath out. And again, just being aware of your body as it changes and just making adjustments to your props, to your positions as you need to. 5 more breaths here. And then when you're ready, gently lifting yourself up, grounding down, pushing back into child pose, and resting down. Big breath in, big breath out. We're going to gently come into some thread needles. As we did them before in a puppy pose, now in a child pose. So taking your left arm, threading it underneath the right, and just resting down. So this one's less of a spine rotation, more really just stretching that shoulder. Big breath in. Big breath out. Coming back through center. And then gently going to the other side. Stretching the arm, releasing down. Big breath in. Big breath out. center, and then gently walking your palms towards you to come into a kneeling position. We're going to come through to sit on our back, so you can sweep your legs to the side and swing them around. I'm just going to shuffle so I'm still on my mat. And just supporting yourself with your hands behind, so you're slightly reclined. Just going to tick-tock the knees from side to side, so try not to just kind of sink into the shoulders. Keep that chest lifted and gently rock from side to side. And then just slow that down as well. Releasing the hips. Really mindful movement. Just opening up. Good. Then coming back to center. Allowing yourself to lie down. And then we come, if lying on your back is too uncomfortable, then just come, take an early Shavasana, so come to lie on your side. You can always put a block or a cushion between your thighs or even under your head. But we'll come more to that in a moment. If you're okay on your back, then stay with me. Let's come into eagle legs. So we're going to place the right thigh over the left. You can stay here, or if you want to, you can lift up and then try to grab opposite feet. So this obviously just depends on how much movement you've allowed in your joints and how much your belly allows. So again, just choosing whichever is right for you. There is no judgment, there is no comparison. Releasing the feet. You can either double tuck if you want to, so placing those right toes around the left calf, or just the thighs crossed, and then drop the thighs down to the left. Extend the arm out to the right. Gaze in towards the right. And just release. Again, with this rotation, please listen to your body. So it may be that you'll still find the knees just fall to the floor effortlessly, or it may be that again, I'm quite lucky I've got the wall in the way, so my legs are resting there. But if not, it'd probably be quite nice for me to have a bolster under those knees, just so I'm not going too far into that twist. So just listening, paying attention. Big inhale, big exhale. Back through center, unraveling the legs. Going to the other side, left thigh over right. And again, resting here. We're bringing the hands and the feet together. Trying to keep the lower back on the floor. Tucking the chin into the chest. Big breath in. Big breath out. Good. If you're holding, releasing. Again, the option to double tuck if you want to. And then allowing the knees to fall to the right side. And taking your gaze and your arm to the left. And surrender into this pose. This is why it's so nice actually sometimes to use props. So it really allows you the opportunity to surrender into positions without having to worry. Big inhale, big exhale. Take your time. Lifting back up, unraveling the legs. If you want to, taking a big stretch out and find your way into Shavasana. So it may be that you're still fine lying on your back, so if so, find your way in, and it could be that you want your soles planted, knees together, maybe soles of the feet together, knees wide. In that case, you might want to Place a little block under each side. It could be having the bolster under your knees. Oh, this is such a comfortable one. But if lying on your back is not okay anymore, then let's lie on our sides. So lying on your left side, so let me just come over. So lying down. So you can use your arm for support, you could use your hands, or if you have a cushion, using a cushion. And place a bolster between your leg. It may be slightly too high, so you might want just something a little lower. It's just quite nice because it just means our knees, our thighs stay in line with our hips, so we're not putting any stress on those hips. Using your spare hand, it can support you. Big inhale, big exhale. And just before we come in properly, so if you're aware, it might be nice to have a blanket, or if that cushion's too big, I need a smaller one, just make those changes now so you can really enjoy your relaxation. It is why we're here. We twist and turn through our asana practice, our physical practice, so we're then able to come more easily to stillness. So please take your time to find where you need to be. And then once you're there, rest and release. If you can and it feels comfortable, maybe even bring one or two hands to your stomach. Big breath in, big breath out. And then just moving your hands, try to connect with your baby. You're breathing down, sharing that breath. Big breath in, big breath out. Allow your body to surrender, to loosen the shoulders. Loosening the face, there's no need for any expression. Allow your cheeks to be heavy, your forehead to be still. Big breath in, big breath out. Imagining all those cells, the trillions of cells in your body, are tiny light bulbs, and they're powered by our breath. The deeper, the longer, the steadier you breathe, the more light bulbs that come on. So pay attention to your breath at the moment. Maybe your chest is alight, maybe down towards your baby. But let's make that breath deeper. Deeper still. Lighten up the light bulbs in your arms, down to your wrists, your hands, your fingers. Breathing so deeply, the energy reaches towards your legs, your ankles, your feet. Breathing deeply, your back, your spine. And up your ears, your nose, even your eyelashes. But we must keep breathing deeply to keep these bulbs, these energy glowing. Your baby is encased, surrounded by this beautiful glowing energy that you're creating. Mind wanders, if your thoughts drift, just come back. Keep lighting those light bulbs. Keep sharing that energy throughout your body. Keep sharing with your baby. Just surrender the body into the mat. Releasing your shoulders, any grasping or gripping. So even if your hands are on your stomach, just allow them to be gentle. Allow your feet to relax. Breathing deeply. The light bulbs are light. Imagine you've created so much energy, you are glowing from these light bulbs that you can't help but share this energy with those around you. As you move through your day, sharing this glowing energy with all those that you see. Big breath in, big breath out. And then gently come back into the body, bring some movement there. Gently, fingers, maybe rubbing the hand across the belly or moving the fingers and the toes. Maybe moving the shoulders up to the ears and releasing them down. Whether you're lying on your side or your back, you may want to stretch out or draw the knees into your chest. And then gently taking your time, you're going to find your way onto your left side and just pause in there. In this fetal position that represents a rebirth. So just with your exhales here, once more, releasing anything you don't need to carry with you. Tensions or aches and pains, conversations that you really don't need to have. Just let them go. And then when you sit up, just bring that beautiful glowing energy with you. Come gently to your seated position. If you need to, just grab something to place under your hips. Take the time. We close as we began with a shared Om. Taking an exhale. Taking an inhale. Inhale together, reaching the arms up, lengthening the spine, place palm to palm, lower the hands in front of the heart. Place one hand on your baby, one hand on your heart. Breathe in deeply, keeping those light bulbs glowing. Exhale fully. Once more, sharing that energy between yourself and your baby. Bring the palms together, resting them at your third eye. Namaste. Thank you. Please feel just because our shared practice is over, you don't need to rush. You don't need to run and be elsewhere. You can just enjoy taking the time on your mat. And finding time whenever you can just to practice a little kindness with yourself, to slow down and be kind to yourself. I'll see you soon.